Hello there, everybody. This is Devin here with the Rogue Deck Chronicle podcast. And this week, we are going to go over a pocket deck that Bimmer's made as the special guest of this week's episode. And when we were going, he was telling me the deck, kind of giving me an idea of how the deck runs, it made perfect sense for this week. So we are going to go over a Moltres Fire deck that was piloted a lot during the Genetic Apex meta, but got some really good partners, so definitely want to give it a look and definitely want to give it the attention it deserves. So the main lead for this deck is going to be Moltres EX. Moltres EX is a basic fire type Pokemon of 140 HP. It is weak to lightning as a fire type, which is key because then it gives you some flexibility against the water matchups early in the game. It does have 2 attacks, but the main one we're going to be focusing on is Inferno Dance. Inferno Dance does cost 1 fire energy, and it reads: flip 3 coins, take any amount of fire energy from your energy zone equal to the amount of heads, and attach it to your bench fire type any way you like. So this deck runs mostly fire types. The only fire type it does not run is actually one of Arceus, and that's just for some utility toward the end game. And then along with that, we do run the new Heatran from Triumphant Light. The Heatran does have 2 aspects to it. It is 110 HP basic fire type Pokemon, and it has the speed link ability. If there is an Arceus EX in play, this Pokemon has 0 retreat, and that is important because Heatran naturally has 3 retreat. So it's going to be a situation where if the Heatran's in play, we always want to have Arceus in play just to give Heatran that retreat pivot position. And then does have an attack of Raging Mad Strike 40 plus, and then does 40 more damage if there's any damage counters on Heatran. And that is for 2 fire energy, so very easy to power up with the Moltres. And then last, in terms of fire attackers, we do have we have a 2/2/2 line of the Charizard EX from Genetic Apex. Charizard EX is a stage 2 180 HP fire type Pokemon that has 2 attacks. Slash for 60 damage that costs fire double colorless, and then Crimson Storm for 200 damage, and it is double fire, double colorless. And Crimson Storm does force you to discard 2 fire energies when you do the attack. So if you are attacking a Charizard, you want to have 5 to 6 energies on it throughout the course of the game. That way you can chain at least 2 Crimson Storms, and more than likely by that point, you are finishing the game. In terms of trainer cards, we do run 2x speed just in case we do lead with a Charmander. We want to get a Moltres in play. Run 2 Pokeball, 1 Pokemon Communication to get our Pokemon into our hand, 2 Giant's Cape to give everything just a little bit of bulk, with 2 Research and 2 Sabrina. I'm choosing Sabrina over Cyrus in this deck because the goal with Charizard is to one-shot everything. So Cyrus won't be very useful because you're not really poking very much. So Sabrina, you just get something else that's new into the active. You can't choose it, your opponent has to choose it, but sometimes if they're just choosing a sacrifice, you're still getting a prize. So, nothing too crazy, a fairly straightforward deck, very simplified deck build, but this list will be in the show notes. That way anyone wants to play around with it absolutely can. And let's go see how this deck does. Alrighty, we do have our first match here. And we are going second. Fantastic. So we want to go second so we can do an attachment and a Inferno Dance. So we're just going to lead with the Charmander, unfortunately, but we do have a Pokeball and a Research in hand. So that is 3 easy ways of looking into more of our deck. And we are facing a water deck. So let's see how we can go against this water archetype here. So they're leading with a Manaphy, but with us going second, we get our energy acceleration 1 turn sooner. So we do want to Pokeball first for sequencing purposes. So we do have a Heatran. So Heatran, Arceus onto the bench there. Now Heatran has free retreat. And then we are going to get an X speed and a Moltres. There we go. Perfect combination of cards there. So we are able to get everything put together for hopefully a successful turn 1. Now we got the setup right. Now will the RNG be in our favor? Time to flip the 3 heads. Tails, tails, tails. Alright, we flipped 3 tails. So we are behind on there. But the good news is we have some options for turn 2. We could slowly be building up this Arceus if we want to, and just make our Moltres of sacrifice fodder. But with Moltres having a lightning weakness, we really actually want to take advantage of that as much as we can. So let's see what our opponent does. Baby Origin Form Palkia, 2 Baby Origin Form Palkia. So this is a Gyarados deck. Okay. This is a Gyarados deck. So we definitely want to try to get a Charizard up and running to counter that Gyarados, so we can just one-shot that once it's ready to go. Okay, so we are going to power up that Moltres. What I want to do is I'm actually going to Sabrina. I want to force my opponent to utilize resources next turn to get that Manaphy back into play. And then we're going to Inferno Dance. Heads, heads, tails. So we got 2 heads there. So we averaged out to our 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to spread the energy just in case we do get a Charmeleon. We're just 1 Charmeleon away from really powering up this Charizard. So we have a couple options in play. So he does waste the an energy off that Magikarp, which is what we want. Puts 1 back, so really a net 0 energy turn for him before he does his Oceanic Gift. And that's why Manaphy is just so good. So we could try to poke into the Manaphy, but then we'll be giving up a Heatran potentially, and I'm not really the biggest fan of that option. We got the Charmeleon. Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to start getting this Charmeleon ready to go. Like we said, when we get a whole bunch of energy onto a Charizard, we get ourselves into a better position. And another 3 tails. So we flipped 9 coins and only 2 heads. So nothing super duper crazy. I'm a little concerned over that Magikarp, but we're gonna see here. He's going to do Zone Smash for at least 60 up to 120. But he still does not KO our Moltres, so we do get 1 more turn of Moltres. Okay, so Moltres is definitely in a threatened position. And we get Charmeleon back-to-back turns after not getting it early game. So here's our position. I'm going to power up this Arceus. I'm going to Inferno Dance, hoping for at least 1, preferably 2 heads. With the way that RNG is giving us, it's not really the best right now. We just... That's... Out of 12 flips, that is 10 tails. That is bonkers. But that's the point. That's RNG for you. It's just the way the game goes. And there's the Gyarados. If we would have had just 1 extra flip, we would have been fine. This flip means nothing, so he gets the 60. So that we are KO'd. Gyarados can do 140, so we are in a position where even if we do knock out this Origin Form Palkia with this Arceus, I think he wins. And we may not even be able to guarantee the KO unless we get a basic Pokemon this turn. Yeah, we're only doing 110. So, but that's the unfortunate part of this deck, right? You're really subject to coin flips. If even like 3 flips out of those 10 tails went our way to get closer to what a 50-50 average was, we would have been in a much better position. So we're going to let our opponent retreat, attack us with the Gyarados to get the win. He's put a lot of effort into building that Gyarados, and we'll reward him for that. But that's Pokemon Pocket energy manipulation in a nutshell. Unless you have something like Manaphy where it's a little slower, you're going to be dealing with some RNG to it. We set up really beautifully. We just did not get the flips in our favor. So let's go do another match and see how we do. We are going second. Fantastic. Another water deck. We're running into a lot of water today. A Gibble deck. Okay, so it's not a water deck. It's a Gibble deck. Garchomp. Water fighting. So they're going to need some time to set up too. So we could set up our bench and start poking with the Arceus. Unfortunately, we are going to be going a little slow with the Arceus, but they are as well. So the one thing that can go to our advantage is that that energy zone across from us does not alternate between the types. So let's see what our opponent does. Okay. Alright, so we have Charmeleon and Charizard, and we just got a Charmander. Awesome. So I'm just going to power up this Arceus in terms of getting it all set up here. And then if we get into a Moltres situation, then we can pivot. But as we see across from us, a water fighting onto this Gibble means a Garchomp can get in line real quick. So we have to try to get ourselves in a position to get this Moltres set up quickly. Alright, so we're at a point where I am just trying to slow my opponent. Because right now we're only doing 90. So we don't even really have an opportunity to really set up much. Like, I'm just really going all in on this Arceus right now, just because the lack of Moltres and lack of other options that's hitting the bench. I did see that Garchomp coming. That Garchomp can do like 150 or 160. Yeah, 150 with the Cynthia. So the Arceus having that Giant's Cape is really, really good. Because now we are in a position where we can poke the first we can poke this first Gabite, and he's gonna make us hit into that Drud again. He's making us hit into the Drud again to take the rough or concession. Okay. We'll take those wins. But it really didn't show much. It just really showed the pressure that we could put on there. So let's go do another one. Alrighty, we're going into another match real quick. Going second again. The one time you want to see a Tails is when you're deciding if you want to go first or second. It's the only time you want to see that in this game. Alrighty, so we're facing a Dark deck. So this is probably Weavile, Darkrai, Crobat. Spiritomb I've seen a couple of times, where Spiritomb really just puts damage counters everywhere and kind of triggers the Weavile very easily. There's the Darkrai. Alrighty, so we got an Arceus. I'm going to put the Arceus in play. We're going to Pokeball. We get a Charmander, fantastic. We're going to attach. We're going to put the Giant's Cape onto Moltres just for a little bit more bulk. And then we're going to research. We have the Charmeleon in hand. Do we get a Charizard? Charmeleon, Charizard. So we get what we need to slowly get a Charizard turn 3. Now, do we get the flips we need? Is a question. We got one, so we got an extra one this turn. So we're going to really focus on getting this Charizard set up. So what I'm going to do next turn, well, I have to see what my opponent does, but really what my goal would be is to actually start slowly powering up the Arceus as a secondary attacker, since we're going to hope that we get a good Inferno dance next turn. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this Charizard just a little bulkier. So both our Giant Capes are in play right now, which is fine. We're going to spread some energy around. We're gonna Inferno Dance again. Hopefully we get 2 energy would be fantastic here. 1, 2. Perfect. So we got both. So Charizard now would be able to just do a singular Crimson Storm. But if the Sneasel does not evolve, we don't even have to worry about that. We could slash for the KO and preserve the energy for 1 turn. And we got another concession. So the pressure from the Inferno Dance definitely gave our opponent a little bit. I think it's the fact that they didn't get the Weavile. So that was a quick one. Let's do another one. Normally we don't do 4 matches, but let's do another. Alrighty, so another match, another time going second. This is one of the few times we want to see those tails. Alright. So we're facing another fire deck. This one's leading off of a Growlithe. So let's see what we get. We have a Research, we have a Charmeleon in hand. We're going to see that rough helmet. Okay, or rocky helmet. So we have a Heatran. I'm going to put the Heatran into play. We're going to Research a Moltres. Wow. Talk about a perfect Research. Talk about a perfect Research. So let's get these cards into play. So I want to bulk up a future Charizard. I want to bulk up this Heatran. And then we're going to Inferno Dance. One, 0, 2. Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to spread the energy around here. So I do not mind. If we get an X-Speed, that would be preferred. To get a Heatran in, poke, and then give ourselves damage off the Rocky Helmet. So this looks like a Blaine's deck. Blaine's Fire deck, which is really fun. I love the Blaine's Fire. We just have to put pressure. And then Inferno Dance really is putting pressure. That's the greatest part of this whole thing. So we'll see what we draw off the top of the deck. So he's going to give us this Vulpix. So that's making me not want to attack into the Vulpix, other than the fact that it just puts pressure. So I'm going to attach the Moltres just so we have energy retreat if we need it. And we'll see what we get from Inferno Dance here. We got 1. And that 1 is going to go onto the Charmeleon. Because now we can just evolve into the Charizard and slash. And just put that initial pressure onto our opponent. Because even with the Tail Whip only affects Moltres. So we could retreat Moltres out and the Tail Whip, yeah, even if the head's on the Tail Whip, it only affects that Moltres. So we can go in and just put a lot of very easy pressure. I'm going to put the Arceus in play again, giving Heatran now free retreat. And we are at a point now where I'm more than okay of doing that. So our opponent kind of saw what we were doing, saw we were going to slash for the KO, and then probably in the Crimson Storm for the secondary KO, regardless if you've got an Arcanine or not. So this is a really fun deck. Give them a thanks. Always thank your opponent in Pokemon Pocket. So I'm going to go back. Really fun deck. I enjoy it. The 2 Moltres, 2 X-Speed, I think is a really underrated combination. Arceus with Heatran with free retreat is a combination, so it kind of flows together. It makes a lot of sense. The Arceus does seem like it's out of place sometimes, and sometimes you may not even need it, but I don't ever see the need to set up 2 Charizards. I think 1 Charizard's enough. The Arceus kind of pairing with the Heatran is amazing, and if you can power up an Arceus to do that 130, you're in a good spot as well. So I hope everyone enjoyed the gameplay. I know with Pocket you get a lot of concessions a lot quicker than you would in live. So you can definitely go through a lot of matches on Pocket a lot quicker than you would on live. But it's also a shorter game, a quicker game, so that's why I love playing it on the phone or just kind of relaxing on the couch. But thank you everyone. For those who've made this far in the video, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel. Let us know what's your favorite pocket deck right now with the Triumphant Light meta. We are trying to just do a deck of the week every single week, as you see here. We mostly do TCG, so for those who are looking for TCG content, don't be alarmed, it is coming back. I just wanted to focus on pocket this week because I do enjoy playing the game. But with that, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy your day, enjoy your weekend, and have fun playing those sneaky decks.